Hey, what is up guys, the DragonxDuelist here, and today I'm going to be talking about link summoning and its effect on the game. And the community is really divided right now because of this topic, and I know I've been gone for a while, but what a topic to come back to. So let's get right into it. So basically, if you guys don't know what link summoning is, it is the next form of summoning that will be coming out in about August, and it is from the Yu-Gi-Oh! V-Reigns series, which is the new series, and that's its official name. V-Reigns, kind of standing for VR. So yeah, so basically, if you haven't heard already, link summoning is link monsters are kind of like rituals in a way, but not really. So they're going to be changing the entire field, and the pendulum zones will go on the bottom of the field. Main monster zones will go at the top, of course, as they usually are, but the biggest difference is there will be two extra zones. It'll be two zones above the main monster zones, and they will be blue, and these are where the link monsters go. So each person has one zone to use a link monster in, and you can only use one link monster at a time because you only have one zone to use a link monster on, unless they change that for some reason. So basically, let's get into the actual link monster itself. This is an example card, which is the main character Yusaku's main card, I believe. It is the Cold Talker, and it is a link monster, of course. The link number, which is 3 for this one, is how many monsters you have to sacrifice or send to the grave to be able to summon it. And it also has a material requirement like an Xyz monster would have. So the Cold Talker requires 2 or more effect monsters, so you can't use normal monsters to summon him. You have to use 2 or more effect monsters. You can also use link monsters to summon him, and you can use link monsters to summon the other ones as well. The biggest thing that link monsters don't have anymore is, well, the biggest thing that link monsters don't have, aside from regular monsters, they don't have defense points, and they can't be changed. Their battle positions can't be changed by card effect or anything else, so they're always going to be in attack mode. So yeah, and then they have the common effects, but the part that has the whole community divided right now is the fact that unless you have a link monster on the field, and these little arrows that the link monster has, these arrows right here, they're gonna be pointing to zones, and for Decode Talker, they're pointing to the adjacent monster zones in the main monsters, in the main monster field. So unless you have a link monster out, you cannot summon monsters from your extra deck regularly. So let's say you don't have a link monster in your deck specifically, then you might as well just not play an extra deck, because you cannot summon monsters, extra deck monsters, to the field unless your link monster, their arrows are pointing to the are pointing to zones in the main monster field, and those zones that the arrows are pointing to is where you can actually summon a extra deck monster. So if you do not have out a link monster, you cannot summon a monster from the extra deck. So no synchros, no Xyz, no fusions, nothing like that. I think that pendulums still count for this. I don't know if they do, but like if they're from the hand, I don't think they count. But if they're in the extra deck zone, and well, you can bring back extra deck monsters from like the graveyard or the bandit zone, and they can go to the main monster zone without a problem, without a link monster being there. But it's the fact that you cannot use extra deck monsters unless you have a link monster out, or you have any link monster in your deck that you plan on using. So this is the part that has the whole community divided. I, for one, think that it's kind of like Konami new to this, because it's basically a middle finger to every deck that they pushed since, like, every deck that they pushed for like the past 8 years or so, because that's because from synchros, exceeds, fusions, all that stuff that they've been pushing for the longest amount of time, is they just basically said fuck all that. You now have to have a link monster out before you can use extra deck monsters. So that's really dumb to me, but at the same time, it kind of gives it's gonna give more variation to the game. Honestly, it's like playing an entirely new game because of that one mechanic that you can't, have extra deck monsters out unless you have a link monster out. That whole mechanic there is just, it's so dividing to the community, and no one knows if it's gonna make the game or break it. I, for one, think that it might break it because the mechanic itself is kind of confusing for like competitive tournaments. So like they're gonna have to really adjust their rules. And one thing they really have to do is, because link monsters are also extra deck monsters, they're going to have to significantly increase the extra deck size limit. Because if you're gonna run link monsters, then you're gonna run an extra deck. That's not even a question. So having to make space for not only fusions, synchros, and exceeds, but also link monsters in there too, because you have to have link monsters now, they're gonna have to increase the extra deck size. I think 20 is probably not good enough. They're probably gonna have to do at least 25 to actually enable players to actually have the chance to run an extra deck besides link monsters. So that's one thing that they're really gonna have to do. And the player base right now, I know that a lot of people are discouraged by this new form of summoning, not just because it's new. Like when pendulums first came out, pendulums didn't change the game this aggressively. Like pendulums just made it easier for people to get out more monsters and play more aggressively. This basically turns Yu-Gi-Oh into a game of chess, and some people like to play very aggressively. Like they want to summon multiple monsters on one turn and then go ahead and use their extra deck monsters, etc. But now with this, they can't be aggressive anymore unless they plan on getting a link monster out like instantly. So this is really making people want to leave the game, and it's really discouraging from that aspect. But I would like to try it just to see like what kind of strategies can be made and what kind of combos can be made with having link summoning in, because I think it's a pretty interesting concept nonetheless. I think if it weren't so game changing, if it didn't basically change all the rules that we've come to know in the past 8 years, then I think that this mechanic itself will be great. It'll be great. Apart from changing the field up a little bit, it's a really interesting mechanic and game idea. But the fact that it changes the entire scape of the game is just too much for some people and they want to leave. And I personally am not gonna leave. I'm gonna try it out and see how I like it. If I don't like it, maybe I'll end up leaving. I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, I'll give it a try. It's an interesting mechanic. It makes the game more strategic and skilled, I would say. But mostly it'll come down to whoever has the Link monster first and whoever's able to make the best plays. So the good thing about this is that it kind of reignites those kind of decks that died out, like aliens and stuff like that didn't really use the extra deck as much as other decks did. But it kind of like cripples decks that are popular right now, like Zodiacs, because they completely rely on the extra deck. And if they don't have that Link monster out, then they can't really do anything. So something else with this is that Konami's either gonna need to make a bunch of Link monsters that are either specific to certain archetypes, or they're gonna have to make a bunch of just general Link monsters that can go in any type of deck. So when you first look at it, Decode Talker can really go into any decks. So I'm guessing that the main character's cards are going to be more general until they really establish what kind of archetype he has, because we don't really know what kind of archetype he has yet. So it's kind of hazy right now, but we'll see when the anime comes out and as the anime goes on. And I'm pretty sure if you guys watch the anime, you'll end up learning the ins and outs of Link summoning. Then you could try it out for yourself. But I don't encourage anyone to leave the game, because I don't think that's the solution. Because whether you like it or not, this game has been a part of your life and will continue to be a part of your life. I mean, you can quit now, but you'll still end up like checking on how the game is. You'll end up probably wanting to learn what's going on and how the game works now that the Link monsters are implemented into the game. Because, you know, there's always going to be people that will try to figure out a bunch of like hyper aggressive combos, and I'm pretty sure they'll be able to do that with Link monsters. It just depends on how they make the Link monsters. So yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts on Link summoning down in the comments below. I'm really interested to hear your feedback. Personally, I can't really say I like it, but at the same time I don't like it. I'm not sure, and I won't be sure until it actually comes out. Yeah, the community is really divided right now. Just let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I don't encourage anybody to quit, but if you feel as though that this will make you quit, then you can go right ahead. But yeah, just let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe to my channel for more videos, and I will be signing out. Peace.